Alright, we're back with part 3, which I guess chapter 2, partway in. So the brothers have been awakened, and they're headed home. Let's go on.
Jenny carried Brad, her elegant blue and white form silhouetted against the orange sky. Brad's lanky frame was perfectly secure in her metallic arms, his blue hoodie fluttering slightly in the wind. XJ8 carried Chuck, her design nearly identical to Jenny's, moving in perfect synchronization beside her sister. Chuck's small frame was completely dwarfed by her, but his expression was pure joy. XJ2 carried Sheldon, his white shirt now thoroughly dusty, his careful scientific mind already processing everything he'd seen. His glasses caught the light as he looked down at the desert below. XJ1, XJ3, XJ4, XJ6, and XJ7 flew in formation around them, their blue and white forms creating a pattern that seemed almost choreographed. But the most significant cargo was being carried by Jenny's sisters. X-Nun was conscious now, marveling at the world below. In his dormant state, his true design had been revealed. He wore an outfit that was distinctly Naruto-inspired, but with a key difference: the entire suit was blue, the family color. The jacket was a deep azure with orange piping, and his pants were a lighter blue. On his head sat an orange bucket hat with the Uzumaki spiral emblem, a nod to his inspiration but distinctly his own. The whisker markings on his face seemed to glow faintly in the sunset light. Despite being a robot, there was something remarkably alive about him, an energy that bordered on infectious. Shinji, the S3 unit, was equally striking in his own way. He wore a military-grade uniform that would have looked utterly anachronistic if not for the fact that it was so perfectly suited to him. The uniform was a variant of the Spectrum Captain uniforms from Captain Scarlet, but modified. Jerry Anderson's influence on Dr. Wakeman had run deep. The base was purple, with green and orange accents. A green beret sat perfectly on his head, and his posture was that of a soldier at ease, confident but respectful. The uniform bore insignias indicating his status, and the whole ensemble made him look far more authoritative than his quiet demeanor would suggest. As they approached him,
So what do you guys think of my variants? Do you think me talking during the story adds something to it? Or should I just... I try staying quiet, nobody watches those videos. Do you think maybe me talking and commenting adds something to it? Like I said, I wrote the story, but AI added parts that, and some of them I'm not really on board with. But anyways, the uniforms were actually my idea. So, what do you think, my variants? And wait till you see their powers.
Naruto kept talking excitedly, his voice carrying wonder. Is that the city? It's so big. So many people down there. We need to help them all. Do you think they need help? We should help them. Shinji was quieter, taking it all in with the calm acceptance of someone finally understanding their purpose. His purple uniform seemed almost regal against the blue forms of his sisters. The flight was something beautiful. The robots coordinated perfectly, moving through the sky with an elegance that made it clear they were family, designed by the same creator, yet each one entirely their own. When they finally touched down at the Wakeman house, the sun was painting the sky in shades of amber and rose. That, Sheldon said, carefully adjusting his glasses that had shifted during the flight, was the most incredible day of my life. Wait until you see what Shinji can cook, XJ8 said with a grin, her blue and white form glinting in the sunset. She nudged Sheldon.
See, there's a typo right there. XJ8 shouldn't know about Shinji cooking. But we're going to assume that she does because she read the files. And she knows that Shinji's personality in anime is he's a cook. Now, I didn't add this in there, but this version of Shinji is also into music, but he is the opposite end. Whereas the original Shinji was more of a classical guy, this Shinji tends to be more of a rock and roll guy. Probably leaning more towards symphonic rock. So more like instrumentals and stuff like the Beatles and the Beach Boys. You'd probably be more like... I can probably get it. Yeah. For example, this particular version of Shinji would probably listen to something like Joe Stratton's Surfing with an Alien. then Beatles' Help. And you might listen to the disco version of Mozart. Is it Mozart? He would tend to listen to rock and roll music where it's more on the symphonic or instrumental side. So there's still traces of the original Shinji Ikari where he prefers instrumentals to vocals. Whereas Naruto, this is essentially just the original Naruto's personality in a robot body. Just thought I put that in.
Toward the door where Nora was waiting, her face streaming with tears of joy, to reunite with her sons. You have no idea what you're in for. Jenny hung back for a moment, watching her friends and her new brothers converge on the house. Her elegant blue and white frame was still glowing faintly with the exertion of flight, her optical sensors reflecting the sunset. XJ8 landed beside her, her identical design making them look like mirror images. You did good, XJ8 said, her voice carrying approval. Bringing them along, they make this better somehow. Yeah, Jenny agreed, her expressive face showing a smile despite being composed of synthetic materials. They do. And as they walked toward the house together, toward a family that was finally completely whole, a family of elegant blue and white sisters, a heroic orange-suited brother with a bucket hat, a dignified purple uniformed big brother with a green beret, and the very human friends who'd helped make this miracle possible, Jenny realized that the best part of being a robot wasn't her powers or her abilities. It was the people, human and robot alike, who chose to stand beside her. But as they entered the house, something caught Jenny's attention. On a shelf in Dr. Nora Wakeman's office, visible through the partially open door, was a uniform. It was hanging there like a dream deferred. A Spectrum Angel uniform, in blue, her size. Dr. Wakeman's eyes met Jenny's for just a moment. And in that glance was a story of a woman who dreamed of building a robot daughter after watching Not Quite Human and Short Circuit, who designed her robots not as weapons or servants, but as daughters. Who'd named them, clothed them, and given them...
Has anyone seen those movies, Not Quite Human and Short Circuit? If you have, let me know in the comments below which one of those two movie series you prefer. Not Quite Human or Short Circuit. Trying to add more interactive elements so when and if people watch these videos, I'll get more interaction.
Purpose. And who'd apparently dreamed of building them all matching uniforms, marking them as part of the same grand design. Jenny looked away, but she'd seen it. She'd seen her mother's dream, hanging there in blue. And for the first time, she understood the full scope of what Dr. Nora Wakeman had been trying to create. Not just robots, a family. The next few days were chaos in the best way possible. Naruto, who insisted they call him that because, as he said, it feels right, had to be taught about the modern world. The orange-suited robot with the bucket hat on his head was more hero than machine, his personality burning bright and earnest. He wanted to help everyone immediately, which led to several near disasters before Jenny and Sheldon figured out how to properly calibrate his electrical systems for safe deployment. He'd practice his attacks in the backyard, his blue suit crackling with a...
Do not adjust your sets.
What up, though, is big. With electricity, he attempted moves that seemed pulled directly from the anime he was inspired by. His whisker markings would glow brightly whenever he got excited, which was often. Come on, this isn't that hard. Naruto protested one afternoon, his blue outfit practically vibrating with barely contained energy. The orange bucket hat somehow staying perfectly in place. Look, I'm keeping the electricity contained. He promptly electrified the entire living room. Brad leaped onto the couch, his hoodie nearly catching fire. Dude, again. But it was Shinji, who asked to be called by that name, the name that felt right to him, who became an unexpected anchor for everyone. Within 3 days, he'd reorganized the entire Wakeman kitchen, restocked the pantry, and was preparing elaborate meals that had even Chuck, the pickiest eater alive, asking for seconds. His purple uniform with the green beret seemed perfectly suited to his role as the household's unexpected chef and caretaker. He moved with military precision, but his hands were gentle, his instructions patient. I don't understand, Sheldon said one evening, Watching Shinji prepare a perfectly balanced tempura dish while simultaneously reviewing repair notes on a holographic display, his green beret never shifting despite his constant movement. How are you multitasking at this level? Cooking is my preferred processing method, Shinji explained calmly, his voice carrying the kind of quiet authority that made everyone listen. When I cook, everything else becomes clear. It's peaceful. The military had apparently approved of Nora's uniform designs, both the blue suit for Naruto and the purple uniform for Shinji. They were combat ready, tactical, yet somehow also distinctly designed for their personalities. Nora had clearly thought through every detail. It was only when Naruto's miniature Toad companions emerged from his backpack that things got truly wild. Boss Toad, Ma Toad, Pa Toad, and Gamabunta were all scaled-down versions of themselves, each with full personalities and their own unique quirks. Boss Toad immediately tried to establish dominance over the household, leading to a hilarious confrontation with XJ2 in her tactical suit. I don't care how big you get, XJ2 said flatly, her blue tactical outfit somehow making her look even more intimidating than usual. You're the size of a toaster. You're not the boss of anything. Boss Toad puffed up indignantly, his tiny form somehow managing to convey outrage. You'll see, we're legendary. It was during the second week that Sheldon's watch beeped urgently, pulling him away from the group. Jenny was used to it by now. Sheldon always had projects, always had somewhere to be. But lately she'd noticed he left more often and came back with a strange kind of energy.
Alright, that's good. We'll call that in for now.